The men have no idea how the woman's mind is like a spider web of manipulation. If they can make that man jealous, then he will like her more. He self-deleted after that. That's the level of cruelty. And that is what women are using their skills at manipulation to do. Like, I recognized it in myself, and I was not interested in using that against people. Hi, welcome back to Far From Eden. Please hit like and subscribe on your way in. Today, I want to talk about women and manipulation. We are so good at manipulating. And there's probably some guys watching right now that are like, oh, they're not going to manipulate me anymore. Because you've been there, done that, and you're like, I'm good. And the way you fight back is you're just disengaging, which I highly recommend. Because, it's not safe out there. And I've talked to men about this who have been manipulated, are currently being manipulated, and it's amazing to me to learn that the men have no idea how the woman's mind is like a spider web of manipulation. Men are very linear and logical. It's like from A to B, causation, this happened, therefore this. It makes sense, it's logical, it's reasonable. Women's minds don't work like that. We're constantly all over the place. And because of that, when women are trying to get out of a situation or try to make a man think something was his idea or make a man think whatever, the man is just kind of like dumbfounded, like, well, why would she go to that much trouble? And somebody asked me that, and that's what inspired me to talk about it. Why would she go to that much trouble? And I was like, it's not trouble. It just is natural. Like, we don't have to sit down with, a notebook and draw out the plan. It's just literally like flows from us. And that's not something to be proud of. It's disturbing. I remember when I was younger, I was probably in junior high or just started high school, around that age. And I guess I realized, like, I'm really good at manipulating people. And I thought about that. And I thought, if I wasn't a good person, actually I said, if I wasn't a Christian, I could be really dangerous. So I made the decision to guard that about myself. I'm not going to tell you that I was always perfect and that I never manipulated anybody, because I am sure that I did over the years. But I knew, like, I recognized it in myself, and I was not interested in using that against people. I could see how very wrong that would be. And then but I was aware of it. So it's kind of that thing where it takes one to know one. So I can spot it in other women, and I know exactly what they're doing and why. And that leads me to a specific thing that we women do. One of the ways women manipulate men, or one of their reasons, is women think that if they're with a guy, or there's a guy they like, if they can make that man jealous, then he will like her more and want to, like, lock it down, put a ring on it, whatever, right? They think that. They're mistaken. Men don't like to compete for women. They don't like that. If a man is like, oh, you're with him? All right, bye. They don't want anything to do with it. I know there are exceptions. I know there are guys that are like, well, they'll do anything, but that's the exception. Generally, if there's another guy, the man's like, I'm out. I'm not dealing with drama. Women are the ones that compete for men. And in a primal way, when we see women all going after a guy, or we know tons of women want this one guy, we want him more. It makes him more attractive to us, because biologically and through evolution, we have learned that means that man has resources. That's why he's in demand. So we compete with one another for that man. Men do not operate the same way, but women will use a man to make another man jealous. And I had a man tell me his story about how he was in a group that met regularly, right? And, he knew the people pretty well in the group. And this one lady in the group, she spoke out about her and her husband. First of all, don't share your business. Don't say stuff like that about your husband to other people. I'll skip to why she did that. She knew. The man that told me this story, she knew, we'll call him Bob. She knew, we'll call her Amanda and him Bob. She knew Bob would be listening and that he was a good, sweet guy who had been friends with her parents for a really long time, like friend of the family, right? So afterwards, after the group, he said, look, I'm really sorry you're going through this. I had no idea. And as he's telling me that story, I'm like, dude, that's exactly why she did that. She knew that guy who had once upon a time had a crush on her back in the day. She knew that was the bait. That was what that was for. I don't even know if the husband had all problems or not, but she said what she said to bait Bob. Next thing that happens is Amanda texts Bob, and a sort of emotional relationship starts happening. And Bob is thinking, oh wow, maybe this actually will work. Maybe her husband is, a bad guy, and he's really hurting the family, etc., and we're meant to be together, etc., etc., etc. Men can really be romantic, actually, in their hearts. They don't reveal it very much, but they want love. They want family. And Bob was like, maybe this is the chance. Maybe we were always meant to be together. And yet nothing really progressed as far as her making any moves to stand up to the husband. But she did say, oh no, Richard, we'll say Richard is her husband. Richard found out. Richard found the texts. And he's really mad. And so it was very dramatic. And she was like, I don't know what's going to happen tonight. I don't know if he's going to hurt me, etc. So Bob, our friend Bob, he drove by the house. He was like, he was the white knight back then. He drove by their house later because he was like, God, is it going to be screaming? Am I going to have to go in there and rescue her? He drove by the house. Peaceful and quiet. Nothing going on. Interesting. And then there was the next stage where she's like, okay, I'm definitely going to leave. She was going to leave Richard. And she's packing her bags and stuff. And then right at the last second, somebody else got involved. Richard comes home, and then Amanda tells Bob, I've decided I've got to give my husband another chance. And she left it like open because she wants to keep Bob kind of dangling, just in case she needs to pull that whole marriage, ripcord or whatever and get out. But the whole reason, I am positive, the whole reason she started this, instigated this situation with Bob, was to make Richard jealous. She wanted Richard to get back in line. And she decided, I'm going to make him think I'm in demand. And I'm going to totally use Bob to do it. And broke Bob's heart. Completely tore him up. Just used him to get her husband in check. And it worked on her husband. Because he doesn't want the divorce. He doesn't want to lose his kids, etc., etc. So whatever he was doing that she didn't like, I guess he straightened up. But that's what women do. Women will use one man against another man, pit them against each other, and seem like the damsel in distress or whatever role she's going to play to get the job done. But it is brutal. It's cruel. It was absolutely cruel what Amanda did in that situation, and how she just hurt everybody on purpose to manipulate the situation. And I had to be the one to say to Bob, oh my God, she never meant any of that. She never did. There's a couple things he told me she said that I was like, oh, uh-oh, that's a lie. And because that's a lie, I know this whole thing is a lie. Like, I was deciphering and analyzing the things she told him, and I could pick up on where it was, not true, it was manipulative. But it took one to know one. It took a woman who has the ability to think like that to recognize another woman doing it and to see, what her intentions are. And it blew Bob's mind to just know that anyone could be capable of just using your heart like that and just demolishing it. And it's the same. It's the same as like when women, if you are a man and you meet a woman overseas who's lovely and traditional, etc., it's great, and you bring her to the United States, and then next thing you know, you stay married to her for a year or whatever long it takes for her to get her green card, what have you. And then she says, I just married you for a green card. And I'm speaking of a specific situation of another man. And he was in love with her. He was not a good-looking man. She was not a terrifically looking woman, but to him, she was beautiful. But then she was like, I just used you for a green card. Yep. He self-deleted after that. That's the level of cruelty. And that is what women are using their skills at manipulation. Brutal. It's brutal. And I think that's the most dangerous thing about women, is our ability to manipulate. And even the dumb ones can do it. That's what's shocking. Like, even the dumb ones. I don't know why. I don't know where it comes from. I don't remember all of a sudden learning it. I just feel like it's part of female nature. So, if you're thinking you're going crazy, it's probably not you. It's probably, a woman's got your head spinning because she wants you off balance because she's up to something. They'll do that too. So, go ahead and comment if you have a story about manipulation, because man, I've heard some. I just told you guys 2 of them, but I've heard some ones you just wouldn't believe. You just wouldn't believe it. Or maybe you would. Maybe you would. Maybe you have ones I wouldn't believe. Anyway, thank you for listening. Please hit like and subscribe and share this video with wherever. And take care. Thanks.